Hello, today you are going to get a lesson review for the unit test that's coming up next week. It is Thursday, September 24th, and this first slide here is you will have to give an example of a one solution. When I ask you to give an example of a one solution, examples could be like x equals 4, m equals -3, as long as there's a variable on one side equaling a number on the other side. An example of a no solution would be where they don't have the same number on the opposite side of the equal sign. Here we have an example of 5 equals 0 and another example of -1 equals 1. Even though they both have the number 1, one's negative, one's positive. That's a no solution. An example of an infinitely many solution would be something like -5 equals -5, 5 equals 5, 4 equals 4, x equals x. This side is where you're going to practice those skills. You're going to solve the equation and then you're going to tell if it's a one solution, a variable on one side equaling a number, a no solution, one number equaling a different number, or an infinite solution, where they're exactly the same on both sides. On this slide, I'm going to teach you guys how to use the cross product. When you do the cross product, remember you take 8 and you multiply it times 7b plus 4. You cross product. So what you'll do is you'll go 8 and multiply it times 7b plus 4. And then you would do 3 and multiply it times b minus 9. So if you were to look at this, it would look like this at the end. It would look like 8 and then 7b plus 4 equals 3 times b minus 9. And here you have an equation with variables on both sides. The same thing you would do for 24. You would take the 8 and multiply it times x plus 5. Then you would say equals, and then you would go 5x minus 4 in parentheses times 6, similar to this example that I just put in this text box. And then you would solve it like you normally would an equation. Here are some additional practice problems on proportional reasoning, cross product, proportional reasoning, cross product, and here it is using the distributive property. And I threw in a rational number, 0.4 and 0.9. On this slide, what I want you to do is to fill in the blank by using the properties of equalities. The properties of equalities, in case you had forgotten, were, whoops, my text box. Okay. Whoops. Can't do the text box. I apologize. So on this one, what you would do is you would have to fill in each one of these the word on what they did for each step. So here is the equation. What did they do in this step that's different from this first step? Well, they don't have parentheses anymore, so they use the distributive property. What I would like for you to do is write the words distributive property right here in this blank. And then from this step, what did they do to get from negative 6x plus 12 plus 2x equals negative 12 to get to negative 4x plus 12 equals negative 12? Well, I noticed that they combined the negative 6x and the positive 2x and got negative 4x. So in the spacer, you would say combine like terms. And then you would do the same thing. How did they get from negative 4x plus 12 equals negative 12 to negative 4x equals negative 24? Well, now there's no more 12, so obviously they put the negative 12 here and added it to this side. So here, what they do is you call it the subtraction. We subtracted in that last step. And then lastly, how did they get from negative 4x equals negative 24 to x equals 6? Well, they used the division. They divided negative 4 to negative 24, and they got 6. So you'd put division. So that's you using what steps they took to solving the equation. Now on this side here, you're going to be given an area of a rug. The area of the rug is 45 square feet. Your task is to write an equation for it and solve, and to find the area of only one rectangle on this piece of rug. Now all of the rectangles are 2 times the square. So in this rectangle, you have 2 squares. So you've got to figure out, how can I set up an equation to get the area equaling 45? And so what I have kids do is I have them say that I first have kids break this down into 9 equal squares. Because if you take the square and you put a line, I don't know if I'll be able to. Let's check it out if I could write a line. Put a line right here, and let me darken it so you guys can see it. So if you put a line right here, okay, it's not very straight. You would have 1, 2, do the line here, 3, 4, 5, put a line here, 6, 7, draw this line all the way down. You'd have 9 equal squares. So what I tell kids to do is to go, let's call all of those squares x. So how many squares would we have? We have 9 squares. So 9x equals 45. Well, then this is just a one-step equation. So here you clearly wrote an equation, 9x equals 45, and when you solve it, all you have to use is division. Once you use division, you will get that when you divide 9 to both sides, you're going to get x equals 5. But the question was, what is the area of one rectangle? Now this is the area of a square. So just double that, 2 squares. That would be the area of a rectangle. And so your answer would be 10 square feet. On the next slide, you're going to just grade your homework. We're done with our study guide. And here you're going to have your closure. You have an exit ticket. I want you to apply the cross product on this closure. I'm going to go back up one slide and make sure you do the study guide. There are 8 problems. If you click here, you could get a copy of it. If you have a printer at home, feel free to print it. Good luck, study, study. Come in next week. We'll use the first part of class to go over any questions you might have on the study guide, and then I will give you your test. Thank you.